Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Skies of Arcadia Revisited. I'm Nye, and we are currently in the Temple of Pyrynn trying to finish up the area. The first thing we need to do is we need to go up this big ramp up here towards all the lava at the top of this room. The room is currently split into two pieces that I cannot do anything about because I cannot get across to go to where the boss is. So instead, I gotta go up here towards this treasure chest. Of course, I'm gonna open every treasure chest. Then we're going to go right up here and open this treasure chest, and immediately encounter yet another fight. This fight's going to be a little bit different from the last ones, though, because we are not, in fact, fighting three Tiki heads. Instead, we are fighting a new type of enemy we've never seen before called a Zivilyn Bane. These enemies are rather unique because they only are ever found whenever you open a treasure chest. And whenever you open one and fight a Zivilyn Bane, you know that the treasure you're about to find is going to be unique and probably worth a lot of money. You fight these fights not only to get the money, but also because Zivilyn Banes do give you a lot of experience, they give you a lot of magical experience, but more than that, they also lead to an end-game boss fight that we definitely want to do. So we gotta make sure we do all of them. Now, Bane isn't particularly difficult in any particular case. He does have a fair amount of attack strength whenever he attacks, like he just did. But the biggest problem is that he has an ability called Burst, which I'm hoping this one won't use, which is a gigantic AoE grenade, and there it is. Does an absolutely fair amount of damage. I was kind of hoping that wouldn't happen. Not too worried about this one. What I will do is show you one of the magic spells we have called Risen, which is a silver spell that has a 50% chance of landing, and when it does, you will, in fact, raise your ally. It's a really early level spell, which is very good, but the problem is that 50% chance of success, and also only a 50% return in HP, can cause problems for you later on, especially when you're counting on it to get you back up. Hopefully we won't be counting on it too much. There is a better version later on, which does have a 100% chance of success and 100% HP refresh. Once again, I want to point out that the game does a really good job of giving you fighting battlefields that are entirely based on where you're actually fighting. In this case, we are on the top of these stairs as we fight the Zivilyn Bane. That's actually the location where we opened this treasure chest, which is just very, very cool. Does give a lot more immersion into the game than other games typically have. Couple level ups, and we get the Isle Seed. So every Bane, if I remember correctly, drops a seed, which is a stat upgrade. We've already seen some of those in the past. And then we receive the Rune of Ill Omen, which is the unique item that we get from this one. Let's use the Cham real quick, even though it's not going to do anything. And the Isle Seed will increase Will by 3, which I'll toss to Fina. Again, it's a magic upgrade. I don't use magic all that much, so I don't really care. Gonna toss some heals down on all of us because we are fairly damaged. And then we'll move on. We're gonna go down here into this next room to solve our final cylinder rolling puzzle. This one's a lot easier than it could be. The entire idea is that when we have to get out the cylinders and toss them inside the similarly colored holes. Easy, right? The problem is that when we do so, those pillars around the outside will change, and the red pillar in the middle will change as well. Which means that we can only actually move very specific ones of these cylinders. So we gotta make sure we do the correct ones at the correct times. At the end of the day, though, it's a pretty easy puzzle. And we are almost done here. It's got 2 more to move. First, it's gonna be the blue one all the way across. Couldn't have moved it other than just then. And then the red one will roll right across that, and that will solve the puzzle for us. Let's move this just a wee bit. Up and over, and we're good. Solving that puzzle will raise the level of the lava behind us, and that will cause it to surge down the channels around us, which means now we have a river of lava to contend with. This is actually a lot better than it sounds, because we need that lava to be there. So let's go ahead and leave the puzzle room because we are done here. And by the way, that Rune of Ill Omen that we got earlier was the last treasure chest we found in the Temple of Pyrynn, so we are 100% for this area. Continue moving on down here. Notice all the detail on the walls. There's a lot of love that was put into this game. Once we get down here, we definitely want to press this button, which will cause water to surge in. And that will cool down all the lava. It'll flash cool it so that it's able to be walked on. Don't try this at home. When we move far enough over here, we'll be able to catch ourselves some Moonfish. I need to readjust just a little bit because I cannot actually look straight up. Gotta go to the exact right place. There we go. Catch our Moonfish, and that's the second Moonfish of the Temple of Pyrynn, and we have now gotten just about everything. Now, real quick, we're going to save our game, and then we're going to do a little bit of a boss rush mode. Because we have 3 bosses we got to fight, one after the other here. So before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and get in here. We're going to use some magic droplets. Now that everybody is full healed, magic droplets have been had. We changed title recently. Now we're Vice the Respected. We got a Moonberry? Nope. Okay, so we're good. I am set to play. So we're going to move through this door. And upon moving through this door, we'll have a quick cutscene. Door closes behind me. We got some sort of weird lava whirlpool going down there. And out of the whirlpool comes the Rokwyrm. And it's kind of pissed at us for waking in slumber. Now, the Rokwyrm is one of the first really hard bosses that you'll fight. Most of the previous bosses prior to now were kind of, I'm not going to say child's play, but they were meant to be a lot easier than this one. This is the one that can and will wreck you if you don't work just right. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get glyphs of might on all of our characters. Typically what we would do is we would cast a Incrum every turn to get all of our characters up to, you know, Incrum status, which would give them the 25% increase in attack and defense. But if we can do it faster, we want to do it faster. So Glyphs of Might it is. There's a reason why I bought them so early. So it's going to make sure that all of our characters have the increased defense, because the Rokwyrm does hit rather hard. It does have other things that it will do, like Cinderstorm, which is its main attack, and Cinderstorm is also an absolute pain in the ass. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does petrify the person attacked.
Let's try this.
I was hoping that wouldn't happen so early. But now that everybody has a Glyph of Might active, we're in a little bit of a better position, so now I can actually get to work. So we're going to go ahead and let Vice do his thing. He's just going to attack, and Fina is going to cast Curia on Aka, which will stop the petrification. You'll notice 232 damage, even though we have the 25% increase in defense, means the Rokwyrm hits really hard, and that isn't the only attack that it does. Now, petrification isn't as bad as you might expect. You can't get out of it without healing it, but it's not going to stop you from participating in the battle. Your SP will still be contributed basically as normal, I believe, and you just can't actually fight. Now that Vice is here, we're going to go ahead and use Cutlass Fury, and that's about all we have to do. We're going to start doing our normal fight routine, which is against an enemy that doesn't cast spells. Aka will attack as normal. Vice will use Cutlass Fury whenever he's able, and Fina will just sit back and focus whenever we need her, or during every turn. Now, if something bad happens, like if Cinderstorm lands and actually petrifies Fina, we'll have Aka do Curia, and Vice will just attack. So that's exactly what happened. So that's going to be our strategy from here on out. But that's going to be about it. Now, I could have Vice use that. Do we have a Curia Crystal on us somewhere? Yes we do. So I'm not going to even bother using SP for a magic spell to cure. We're just going to use a Curia Crystal and let Vice do another turn of Cutlass Fury. That's going to go right now. Vice will Cutlass Fury again, doing another 695 damage. And we're fighting this Rokwyrm pretty quickly. Keep in mind, I haven't been grinding a lot during this LP, so we might be a little bit under-leveled for the time. Another Cinderstorm. Looks like this one did not land the petrification ability, which I'm definitely a fan of. I don't want that landing. And we're just going to keep on fighting. Got a fair amount of damage here. On both sides, unfortunately, but we're doing good, and that's what counts. This thing's about halfway dead. As you'll notice, the music did change. It's my favorite music, of course. Got a focus going on here. The Rokwyrm's just attacking. I might have to worry about healing up a little bit in the very near future. But I'm not going to be too concerned with that just yet, I don't think. You know what, Fina? Go ahead and use a Sacred Crystal, because we're not going to need to focus this turn. So there goes the Rokwyrm again. Takes another 716 damage. Still going to take a couple turns to actually kill it, though. Especially if Cinderstorm does actually petrify Vice. And Survey says no. Fantastic. As you can see, Eika isn't exactly the gigantic damage dealer that you might want her to be.
Let's try this.
And Fina goes ahead and cures herself. Fina, for the majority of the game, is going to be basically our buffer mage in general. Her entire job is mostly going to be just to buff herself and buff others. Eika, I need you to just go attack. And I need Fina. Notice that the Glyph of Might wore off when they got petrified, which kind of sucks. Let's have you use the Sacred Crystal on Eika. Luckily, it was only Glyph of Might and not Inkrym that we lost, which is important. If all your characters do get petrified, however, it is an instant game over because petrification is considered the same as death for the most part, so you definitely don't want that to happen. Eika gets healed, and we are still good to go. That Rokwyrm should go down next turn. Vice takes a little bit more damage, no big deal. Cutlass Fury should finish it off. It will cast a Cinderstorm on Vice, though, that could actually petrify him, and probably will. Darn. And so that means we're actually not going to finish the fight this turn, because I'm not going to have enough damage to take this thing out, even with both of these two attacking. And I do want to get Vice unpetrified before the fight ends. So we're just going to Curia Crystal Vice, and you are going to use a Sacrace Crystal on him. We'll let it go one more turn, just to make sure that we get Vice up, because I do not want him to be, without all of the bonuses that will come from this fight, including the experience and the magic experience. I want him to have that. So we'll get him going again. Cinderstorm's going to happen again on Eika, and this could become really annoying very, very quickly, depending on if that lands or not. And it does. So we got to make sure she gets up.
Let's try this.
One annoying thing about this particular boss is just because it likes to do this over and over and over, which can cause some problems. Okay, let's have you use a Curia Crystal on her, and you just focus. We'll do one more. Come on, stop doing this. This fight gets really annoying because of this. Did it land it? It did land it. Ugh. Annoying.
Here goes.
The problem is there's really no defense against it unless you put on the Gem of Fluidity, which is the reason why we got 2 of those so early. But that's really the only way to protect against Cinderstorm. Otherwise, you're just basically letting it hit you over and over and over. Okay, you're going to use Curia, that's fine. I don't care. This is just taking longer than I would have liked. I just don't want people to be down during this. Vice is going to do a counter stance. That way, if the Rokwyrm actually attacks him, he'll immediately counterattack. Remember, it has to be a basic attack. It can't be a special attack. But if that happens, then we'll pretty much instantly win. Just hoping the Rokwyrm does not cast Cinderstorm again. Volcanic Blast. Okay, that's kind of different. Volcanic Blast is its super attack, which does, as you can see, a lot of damage to Fina, but doesn't kill her, which is important. We're going to go ahead and Cutlass Fury him. You're going to use Sacred Crystal on Fina just to make sure she stays alive. She's going to focus, and that will be the end of it. Thank you. So, as you can see, it does have multiple attacks that could take you out if you don't try particularly hard. So you want to make sure that you keep yourself, you don't want to have the Cinder Storm hit too hard. Might want to use the Gem of Fluidity for that, even though I didn't. I chose to use a lot of items to keep myself going. Got a Rissalem box, which we might have to use later on, and the Rokwyrm acts as a bridge so we can cross all this lava and get into the next room. Those doors just do not want to rise fluidly. Okay. This is a big room, but the only thing we care about it is that glowing red jewel over there on the altar. Let's go ahead and pick that up. Got our little soft theme in the background as Fina takes a look at the moon crystal.
Wow.
It's a lovely shape, it's brilliant, it's beautiful, and Eika considers it to be treasure. Fina comments that it's the most concentrated source of energy that you will ever see. It was created by distilling a moonstone into its purest form. Moon crystals are pure energy, and this crystal alone has the power of thousands or 10,000s of moonstones. So this crystal is powerful enough to control one of the Gigas. So Fina takes it into her hands. Apparently it's not going to burn her up. You have to use it. And you can look at the light radiating from the crystal. Even though thousands of years have passed since the destruction of the old world, the crystal still shines as bright as ever. Between the power of these crystals and the destructive forces of the Gigas, it's easy to see how so much of the world was destroyed. It's pretty sad that the people of the old world had so much power, but they used it to make weapons instead of helping each other. That sucks. And Aika comments that we can't let Valua get their hands on one of these. That's absolutely right. So we need to leave it up to us to keep the crystal safe. The Valuans are going to have to take it off of his dead body before he hands it over to them. So much of the world that Vice wants to see, and he's not going to let some ancient guardian destroy half of it now.
Thank you very much.
And Fina knows that he'll do his best to keep it safe. We hear our little comment in the background from Fina, and now it's time for us to move on. So that door opens. That wasn't actually there before. And we can do an easy exit to go back to the outside of the ruins. To the side goes that giant statue, and out we go. So we're going to do a quick save right quick, because we did just beat a boss. And now we're going to go down the stairs and go meet Belena and get ourselves back to Maramba, where we can decide what to do next. Altogether, good choices. Hi, Belena. How's it going? So, what's going on? Sorry to keep you waiting for so long. Hope you weren't worried about us. We were only in there for about an hour. She's glad that we're alright. Did we find the moon crystal? Well, of course we found it. And Belena would like to see it. She wants to take a look at it. This sounds like a really bad idea, but hey, she's been nice to us so far. And now she knows it's a legendary moon crystal. She imagined that it would be beautiful. This is better. And she's thankful that Lord Galcian will be very pleased for our help. What? What are you talking about? Well, of course, our heroes haven't seen Belena before, or her alternate form. So now we have Valuan soldiers around us, which is pretty terrible. Vice wants to know who Belena actually is. She'll raise her veil, and when the transformation completes, she is all of a sudden Beleza, 4th Admiral of the Imperial Armada. She specializes in covert operations and doesn't want to... We don't have to get our hands bloody to win battles, and a little trickery might go a long way. Vice is a little bit upset that she tricked her, and Fina, who gets the name wrong immediately, and then corrects herself, comments that everything about war and about her parents, about her childhood, wondering if it was all a lie, and if she just said it just to get them to trust her. Straight-faced Beleza says that it was all true, but she never said her dad was from Nasser. He was a Valuan soldier and did die in battle. She, too, became a soldier in order to put an end to all war so nobody has to go through what she went through. So, I mean, it's a good thing that she was trying to do. Countries go to war arguing over borders and resources. If the world was united under one rule, there would be no more war. That is why they need the power of the Gigas to make sure no one opposes us, that Valua can rule the world. And Fina knows what she's about to do, tries to stop her, but Beleza immediately puts the moon crystal into the slot and summons the red Gigas Rekwyrm, saying she's the bearer of the red moon crystal, commands it to do her bidding. This is probably a really bad idea. And Vice is aware that whatever she did is really, really bad. Fina seems to have gone a little bit blue screen of death in her brain, and Beleza has decided to use Rekwyrm to kill the 3 kids. After talking, over and over and over about how she doesn't want war to happen, doesn't want bloody things to happen, completely ignoring the fact that the 3 of them might actually have parents who would be upset. Vice wants to know what's going on. Fina says they need to run because she's summoning the red Gigas Rekwyrm. She's using the power of the red moon crystal to awaken him, and all of a sudden Vice realizes this is a really, really bad thing. Typically when you have a gigantic laser beam of light coming out of the MacGuffin, something bad is about to happen. Vice says they're going to have to run. Let's get out of here, and now they're going to run across the desert. This is not going to end well. Cutscene loads up, and all of a sudden we see that beam going up. We hear an annoying buzzing sound in the background, and the temple starts to rock. We got pillars falling, things are happening, earthquakes are occurring, and you might wonder why. It's because those gigantic heads are starting to move, and the stone of centuries and not even centuries, millennia that is built up over the heads finally falls away, revealing Rokwyrm himself rising out of the plaza we were just standing in. He's waking up, and he is not exactly happy. All four heads are doing a search pattern, trying to figure out where our heroes are, and Vina confirms that is the red Gigas Rokwyrm. So they're just going to stand there and look at it for a few seconds, you know. Those weren't statues, those were his heads. No, that couldn't be the truth. The heads search around, and all of a sudden locks on to three heroes. Vice realizes it's looking right at them that they need to run, and off they go. The Gigas powers up and powers out a beam of hate and heat. Fina trips. Looks like it's all over for our heroes. Quick, we've got to run. She apologizes for tripping. Vice responds by diving in front of them, and then a gigantic hit on the side of the Gigas' head causes the beam to go off kilter, creating a beam of fire and upset all throughout the desert. You don't want that to happen to you. Vite wonders what hit it in the head, looks around, and look, it's Drachma up there saving the day once again. Everybody's happy, he saved their lives, and they think that maybe the little Jack can defeat this Gigas, which was the most powerful weapon of the old world that has lasted for thousands and thousands of years. The balloon soldier comments that that ship is rescuing them. Beleza comments that she needs to ready the Lynx, her own flagship, to make sure they don't escape. And while she does that, and commenting that, wondering what Vice is actually made of, they all get on the deck of the ship to see what they can do. Captain came back just in time. Thank you, Aka, for telling us what we already know about. And Drachma comments that he didn't come back for them. His search for the giant space whale brought him back to the desert. And he wasn't about to watch the three of them get cooked, so he had to save them. Aka's amused by the fact that the captain is pretending he doesn't like him or care about them. Both of them are giggling over this while they're about to be attacked by a gigantic freaking Gigas, and Fina comments that Aka shouldn't tease the captain. Captain's worried about, who's acting about all this. He just wants to find Rokwyrm, calling them rotten little brats, getting him into trouble. Vice wants to know what they should do about Rokwyrm. Drachma comments that they should treat it like a practice run for when they fight Rokwyrm, that it packs a gigantic punch, we should not get hit by that beam no matter what. He's not sure if the little Jack can take a direct hit. And now it is time for another ship-to-ship battle, and Drachma has rejoined the party. So it's a new ship-to-ship battle, the first time we have done one with all four characters. And the most badass music starts to go. I love this track. Vice wants to know if Captain has any idea how to fight this thing, but Drachma knows very little and says we should just stay high up and see what it does for now. And I absolutely agree. So we're just going to focus, and then we're going to guard up on the red turn. Red means really bad things will happen during that turn. You should not allow things to happen. And so we'll get our little flyby passes, watching as Rokwyrm does little to nothing. So focusing is what they do. We're just going to get as much SP as we can, because there's not really much we can do against this thing, It's a gigantic super weapon. How are we going to stop that? Well, I mean, the harpoon cannon could do something, right? If we blast it repeatedly in the head, maybe. So the Rokwyrm will prepare its attack. And now comes the next turn, the red turn, where we're going to go ahead and take evasive action, because bad things will happen if we don't. Which gives us a shield as much as it should be us trying to dodge around whatever it is that this thing is doing. So I assume it thinks that, the way we're doing this, the evasive action means this hits a non-standard place. But we did get hit by a point-blank attack by that red ray. Thankfully, it only did about 3,000 damage, but we only have about 11,000 total health, so we don't want to see that happen. Aka comments that a few more hits like that and we're going to be done for. Drachma can't believe that destructive power, and we've got to decide what we're going to do. Now, unfortunately, there's not really much we are going to be able to do. So what I'm going to have us do is I'm going to have Fina go ahead and cast a sack raise at the very tail end of this turn after it does another red raise. That way we're at full health for the next turn. And then we're just going to wait through this turn. There's basically nothing we can do about this. It's a gigantic freaking walking turret of death and pain. And I'm not able to stop it through anything that I can do. We're just going to continue flying around it, maybe distract it, see if we can do something so it doesn't go to a populated area, because that would be terrible. Another red ray will cut through our ship, do about the same amount of damage that it did previously, if I had to guess. About 3,000 damage. So it did a little bit more damage this time, but that's not terrible, and of course we're going to have sack rays come up at the end of the turn to heal us back up to full, so it's not something we have to worry about too much. We are going to have basically full SP for the next turn, so we'll be able to attack it with just about everything we have. But it's just going to assess damage. We haven't even scratched it yet because I obviously haven't been attacking. Here comes the heal. Brings us 800 or 8,000 HP. The sack raise does more, and the heal spells do more in the ship than they do on the when you're on your feet. And we're going to continue just sort of flying around here. Aika wants to know what we're going to be able to do against that thing. Rokwyrm comments that if we can't destroy him, but perhaps we can avoid his attacks, we should attack it with our cannons to knock it off balance, so maybe we shoot with our cannons just before it does its heavy attack. We might be able to dodge it. Vice considers that it's worth a try. It is worth a try, so we'll go ahead and drop some attacks right here, but it's not going to be able to do much. I do want Aika to give us an Rokwyrm right here. We're going to go ahead and attack the main cannon there. Drachma's going to continue to focus because I want to make sure that I have SP for the next turn after I do all of this. But as you can see, we're doing nothing in terms of damage. It's doing 3,000 damage every time it fires a red laser. We did about 150 damage when we fired our cannons. So we have to hope that we can do a lot more than that. Otherwise, we're not going to be able to do anything against this giant walking tower of upset. You can imagine what this would be able to do against an entire fleet. We're only taking damage from one head at a time. This thing could just walk in the center of a fleet and just fire lasers all over the place. It would look like a lovely laser light show from some sort of dubstep concert. But it would also just about kill everybody. About the same as a dubstep concert. It has a very interesting design, though. Heads firing in all directions. You gotta wonder why all those heads were pointing inwards when it was in the middle of that plaza. Unfortunately, we did not do enough damage to knock it completely off-center, and this time it dealt 7,500 damage, even though we had Rokwyrm up to give us defense. That's a lot of damage. Remember, we were not defending on that. We actually took the full brunt of that. You don't want to do that twice. It's going to assess its damage, and we're going to back off, because we got to figure out what the hell we're going to do about this. So now we get another turn to actually try something. I'm going to make sure that Vice is piloting the super cannon, so that way he can hit this thing on its turn. And then we're going to have Aika sack raise up, and we're going to drop basically nothing. We're not going to fight this thing, because there's nothing we can do. You can see that we have no damage on it. We just got to heal ourselves and basically keep ourselves alive as long as possible. Now, luckily, with all the magic droplets that we have, that's not going to be altogether too hard. I can just keep myself going turn after turn after turn, but that's not going to beat this thing. So we got to figure out some way we can actually stop this thing from attacking, shut it down, put it out of sight. Anybody have any ideas? Now you notice the monster, the Rokwyrm, seems to be doing as much as we are. It's focusing, it's using up spirit points. It doesn't work exactly like that, but it's close enough. We're going to go ahead and launch a harpoon cannon directly into its forehead. Kaboom. And you'll notice that the head gets knocked backwards. That dealt about 1,200 damage. We still don't even see a dent on its HP bar. This is a pretty bad thing altogether. So it uses Red Ray. But this time it's off balance, so it doesn't hit us at all, but it may hit a passing trader way down the line. So hooray! We dodged the attack. We did not take gigantic amounts of damage. We're not going to be able to, consider ourselves successful for very long, though. Because this thing will just keep on doing it. And how many times can we actually fire the harpoon cannon in a row, anyways? That's a very good question. We should find out. So Vice comments that, yes, we did it. We knocked it off balance, but it didn't look like we did any damage to it at all. It's going to fly right on through there. If we just sit between its heads, maybe we can't do anything. Vice comments that we're only prolonging our own death, that he has to have a weakness, and we've got to wonder, do we fire at its head or at its feet? We're going to fire at its heads, because if we don't attack it near the feet, if we don't attack it near the heads, we can't stop it from firing at us. If we're near the feet, it's just going to shoot at us. So you'll notice that next turn is going to be all green. You got to wonder what's going to happen there. We're going to go ahead and... how do I want to do this? What we're going to do is we're going to do the S-Cannon on the last turn, and there's a reason why I'm doing this. Because I want to make sure that we can heal just before that happens. The final time it attacks, we're not going to be able to heal after that. So we're going to be on a damaged little jack going into the next turn. But if we make sure to allow ourselves to get damaged the first time, we can heal ourselves immediately, fire the S-Cannon for the last turn, and that way it'll miss and we'll still be at full health. Or at least that's the plan. We're going to see exactly how well that works. So here comes the evasive action, and here comes the red laser. Come on. The red ray, rather. Once again, it hits us with all the power of the sun. And we take about 3,400 damage. You can see that it fluctuates around, but it's dealing a little bit more damage every time it hits us. We definitely do not want to take full hits off of that. We'll use up sack rays, get ourselves up to 8,000 life again, get ourselves to full health. And then we'll wait for the next turn, which will be us harpoon cannoning its head and hopefully not take as much damage as we have been so far. So out comes the harpoon cannon, which is an animation I'm actually unable to skip. We'll fire that into its head. Its head will go off kilter as usual. We'll rock the thing around. We only dealt 880 damage this time because we, of course, were not incremented up. And this thing will now continue to plod along its way. The red ray will fire, but because the head is a little bit off balance, it won't hit us, and we'll hopefully be good to go. We'll continue flying really close to it because that is the safest place to be, apparently. And Vice will comment that we got in as close as we could, but our cannons did almost nothing to it because we didn't fire any. Rokwyrm comments that it's no use. The only thing we're managing to do is damage our own ship, and that we can't fight like this for much longer. We have to retreat and get out of range and think of a new strategy. So if you want to, you continue fighting, but nothing's going to happen. You're just going to keep losing. So if we hit retreat and regroup, we'll go ahead and get out of range. Which means that we will have a gigantic red Gigas running around the desert for the foreseeable future. We have a battle conclusion screen saying that no experience was gained, no magic experience was gained, no gold was found. And that's about it. So Vice comments that nothing is working, and that's absolutely right, but before we find out how to fight this thing, we're going to have to take a little bit of a break. So I will see you guys next time when we will actually figure out exactly how to fight the Red Gigas. I'll see you guys soon.